Hello TL Travelers, and welcome to or welcome back to the TL Travel YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome to the TL Travel family. Right now we are doing some recaps from a 2014 backpacking adventure through South America. In our last video, I talked about the top 5 places that you should have on your bucket list for Patagonia. And today we are talking about one of those bucket list items, and that is Ushuaia. Now, yes, we are talking about the appeal of Ushuaia, being that it is the southernmost city in the world. So if you have like that type of bucket list mind, it's definitely one to add on there. It's also the jump off point for Antarctica. So there are multiple reasons why you would want to visit Ushuaia. We in particular were going for mine and Derek's birthday so that we could go and see the penguins. But the story that I am telling you today is going to be entertaining to you whether you are planning to visit or not, because this was probably the biggest fail that we had throughout our entire 6-month journey, was trying to get to Ushuaia, almost not making it to Ushuaia, and having to spend like just too much money to see penguins. So if this is the kind of content that you enjoy, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that like button if you've ever been to Ushuaia or if you would ever consider going. And yeah, I'm just gonna stop rambling now and just jump into it. So the story begins by me explaining to you that we were doing most of our travels through South America by land, and we sort of determined when we were setting out our route of travel that the easiest way for us to get from place to place and all the places that we wanted to go, instead of trying to like somehow go down the coast of Argentina and like stay in Argentina and then do Chile separately, we would zigzag through the center, through the mountains down to the tip, down to Ushuaia, and then fly back to Santiago. So that was a route that had been recommended to us by multiple people. That was the plan, but that's sort of why, if you have been wondering, or if you are wondering why we are going like in and out of the country, that's why. Now, in my current day research, it turns out that Canadians have a 90-day visa on arriving in Argentina, and that's not like a thing anymore. But back in 2014 when we were going, before we left, we had to purchase a multi-entry visa for 90 days in order for us to not only travel to Argentina, but to leave the country and come back the way that we had planned. These visas were, I believe, $150 per person, and the way that they were explained to us, both by a travel advisor and the way that it was written online, which I'm gonna say right now was like not clear enough, was that you purchase this visa ahead of time, and then from the day that you land in Argentina, you have 90 days, you know, in and out. Cool. Totally cool. Sounds perfect. So Derek and I both picked up those visas before we left on our adventures, and when we went into Argentina the first time, we presented our visa, they gave it a stamp, all of those things, everything was great. Well, turns out everything was not quite as great as we thought, because in order for us to get to Ushuaia, which is also in Argentina, and we were in Argentina, we still had to cross into Chile and back into Argentina on our 11-hour bus trip. So we left El Calafate in Argentina and we crossed into Chile, no problems at all, got all our stamps, all those kinds of things. Everything was great. The views on this bus ride were super scenic. We were just like living our best lives, heading to Ushuaia, knock another one off the bucket list. And then we got to the border back into Argentina. So we left Chile, we got stamped out. And then the way that that border that we were at kind of worked was that you get stamped out of Chile, and then there is like a bit of a no man's land type zone that you drive about, I want to say the drive was like 10 or 15 minutes. It has been a few years, so don't quote me on it, but there was a drive before you got to the immigration on the Argentina side and they stamped you in. So when we got to the Argentina side, we thought, okay, everything is great. And we pulled out our passports and our visas, and we were informed that our visa had expired yesterday. which there was no way that was possible because it hadn't been 90 days since we arrived in Argentina. They didn't speak much English, and they were just trying to explain to us like, no, this visa isn't valid, it's not valid, it's not valid. We were trying to explain to them like, yeah, it is valid. Like, you can see the date written right here was the first date that we landed in Argentina. So like it's quite obvious that it's valid. So we finally had one of the guys that was on the bus with us. He spoke fluent English and Spanish. So he came up and he started doing some translation for us. And the border agency explained that no, the visa isn't valid for 90 days from when you land. It's valid 90 days from purchase. And we had purchased it before we had landed in Argentina, like on advisement from everybody. So this was incredibly confusing to us, but like I've mentioned in so many videos in this series before, this was before the age of like traveling with a smartphone in your pocket and having Wi-Fi or having a SIM card and being able to like fact check these things. So we were given two options. The first was that we go back to the Chilean side and get dropped off in Chile, and the bus goes on without us, and we just like figure out our way back to wherever. And then the second option was to buy new visas, each for $150 and continue on with our bus. So we obviously didn't want to do either of those, but when it came down to it, we definitely didn't want to miss out on Ushuaia because it kind of felt like a landmark, like part of our trip, like to go all the way to the furthest south before coming back up. We didn't want to miss like that moment, but at the same time, we also didn't want to like be dropped off in no man's land in Chile and just left to like figure life out. And we knew that we needed to fly back to Santiago at some point. We didn't know where the closest airport was, like just none of it was making sense at the time. And without the resources that we needed to do like a little bit of quick research, we just decided, you know what? We're just going to not cause a problem, pay for the visas, and like figure out the financial loss later. But in order for us to buy these new visas, we apparently, for whatever reason, and this will still never make any sense to me, we had to go back to the Chilean side, have them purchased in like outside of Argentina, and then have them printed there, and then come back to the border, which meant that they had to leave everyone from our bus sitting in immigration to then take just Derek and I back on the bus, wait for us to get a new visa, and then drive us back to have us stamped in. I'm gonna tell you right now, especially because no one on that bus really spoke any English, we were hated, just hated for the rest of that bus ride. They didn't want to look at us. They wanted nothing to do with us. We couldn't explain what had happened. And the worst part of it all was when we got to the Chilean side to purchase new visas, they looked at our Argentinian visa, like the paper that we had that had been expired, and they all said that they were pretty certain that we had it right, that we'd been advised correctly, that the website was correct, and that we should have 90 days. And that we could probably fight it, but like we weren't gonna get back on the bus, go back to the Argentinian side and try and fight it. Like it wasn't gonna work. So whether it was a scam to have us buy new visas or not, it made for one of the most wild of travel days. And when all is said and done, we are still so glad that we made it to Ushuaia because we got to spend our birthday with penguins, the cutest little penguins ever. Just like so many of them running around, so cute, as opposed to like spending our birthdays stuck in Chile somewhere trying to like figure out how to salvage our journey south and like get back to Santiago. So scam or not, all in all, it was worth it. And really at the end of the day, it gave us a great and entertaining story, not only to share at dinner parties, but to share with you guys here. So if you have ever had a similar travel type experience, I would love for you to leave a comment down below and let me know. Let me know if you have any plans to head to South America in the future. And until I see you in my next video where we are heading out to Easter Island. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm putting photos up right now because you'll know what I mean We're heading out to Easter Island. I'm so excited to share it with you. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and until I see you in my next video, stay great, stay safe, and I will see you in Easter Island. Bye guys.